Didn't we have a lovely time the day we went to the Gorn hegemony? Just here, messing up your intros like a cheeky little monkey.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior. Oh no, wait, we're not on Paramount. To review every episode.
We haven't got to season 5 yet.
We're not called Stephen Colbert. To review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence. To seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable. To boldly go where many other Star Trek-based YouTube channels have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers. Welcome to a live episode of Trek It Up North. We're back, baby! We have had a hiatus because I had a mentee bee. I am back with food poisoning, so the misery continues. I am, of course, Captain Goodwill of the Starship Adequate. I am a red shirt because pretty soon I will be dead. And joining me, as ever, is the delectable Geesian from the planet Honk and fresh from the motherland, not the motherland, fresh from the fatherland, Science Officer Synoiz!
Hello everyone. Yes, wie geht's? That's it. I've had so many fun times in Berlin, but let's not talk about them here. This is a family environment.
There was so much leather. It was like 1942.
No, I literally, like, the problem is we have this thing where when we're talking before we start the show, we kind of forget that these are private conversations and I'll end up bringing them up anyway. So we're talking about how you've got food poisoning, so you're probably going to die at some point doing it, or shit yourself to death.
Okay,
you know?
I'm going to launch a poll, all right?
Okay.
I'm going to launch... No, that's a Q&A, you dumbass. I'm going to launch a poll, okay? The poll is going to be, how will Captain Goodwill die? Will it be death by poop?
Yeah. I think Gorn attack might need to be in there.
Gorn attack. There we go, folks. Vote now. I decided in my infinite wisdom. I decided in my infinite wisdom the other day, because I am terribly alone, and for those that don't realize it, Captain Goodwill now flies solo, and I don't cook. But then I decided in my infinite wisdom...
How is that cook or cuck?
Yes. I decided in my infinite wisdom I was going to sit in the corner of a room on a chair and make some chicken. I made some lovely tandoori wraps. It was beautiful. And then the night happened. And lo, the river of poop happened. And I have had food poisoning since. And every smartass, I mean friend on the planet, has gone, Captain Goodwill, why didn't you cook? Why didn't you cut the tandoori chicken to see if it was pink? And I went, it's all pink, it's tandoori chicken! Needless to say, I have lost 62% of my body weight. I'm wearing a red shirt because at any moment I may die and Synoiz will have to take over the entire show.
Then we're all fucked. There we go. First swear word of the day. Wait. But I do love it though. But yes, we've been kind of inconsistent there on the new channel, but it's simply because that wonderful thing of life gets in the way. It's like the opposite of Jurassic Park. It's the fact of you have so many commitments, I have so many commitments, and we're kind of sitting here being like, oh, this is a tough one.
We have, yeah, in all fairness, I needed the break, so I am glad that we are back. We have done so much since we have been away. I am now a legitimate boss at a new job, so fear for my team, because they have this to hold them together. I'm like pound chop glue next to Gorilla. And you have been all over the world, and you've been attending many events. But
well, I've been to Europe. I've been to Europe, but yes,
to America, that's another world. So you're fine.
You know what though? Like it was really bad today because I've been feeling guilty lately, and I don't know if this is a thing that people share, but you know when you work, you know when you know so many people in the creative world, and you know so many people who are doing charity work and stuff, and you can't support them all, and then you start
Yeah,
feeling guilty about it.
yeah,
Because like the last 3 months, it's literally been like every week there's like 4 different paid events like friends are putting on, or there's like GoFundMe's for people who are transitioning, or people who are getting on HRT, or like people who are just recovering, or doing the Great North Run and stuff, or like things like Pride events and whatnot. And it's just that thing of just going, I can't support all of these. Like I counted it up, and I was like, if I literally just chucked a tenner into each of these causes, that would be like 340 quid, like in a month. And I was like, I and also time, I can't go to all these events.
no,
And so I just kind of ended up feeling kind of guilty for it, and then getting into this thing of, oh well, if I support this one person in the competition, then I need to support all the people in the competition, and I can't do that, so I can't support any of them, and getting into that weird mental
yep,
loop. And yeah, and then today on my private stories on what's it, Instagram, I had to just post something saying, look, I'm sorry if I'm not coming to your events or donating to this, but like, yeah, you know, literally, like this Star Trek Strange New Worlds, that's the first new thing I've watched in
yeah,
about 3 months now,
I
because
yeah.
loads of stuff's coming out, but I don't have a night in front of the TV, so it's like, okay.
It has honestly been the same for me. I've either been on Twitch to keep myself mentally sane, because the problem with living alone is the voices start rearing their heads, and
Which
I
usually wouldn't be a problem if you're alone, but
yeah,
obviously when
yeah,
you're alone and crazy.
exactly. So and then I have started a new job, which has obviously taken a lot of time away, and there's been loads of new things that have happened, and I have done my absolute best to work with people and help people, and bless, we've got a lovely we've had a couple of friends of the show. We've had Jamie from Destination Trek, which is happening in Blackpool this year,
End of this month,
end of this month,
beginning of next month.
he's been asking and asking. He's like, are you guys coming down? And I felt so awful because I kept going. I'll reply tomorrow, and then it turned into 3 weeks, and I'm like, shit. So I've had to apologize and say we are just so busy. We are absolutely snowed under as individuals, that we have really made a commitment to get the 10 episodes of Strange New Worlds done, because our lives are absolutely sinking. But rest assured, like I said, rest assured, we are everything will start to get back on track. We will review, unfortunately, Elysium from Voyager once Strange New Worlds is over.
I love that. I think all of this, like your mentee B and whatnot, like all of this, all of it's just a smokescreen for us not wanting to do the Space Nonce episode. Just being like, that's going to be a tough one.
It is so problem. The thing is, when we announced,
considering on the Trekking Up North Discord, as part of the Nerdy Up North Discord, I had I basically decided that I need to do a swear jar for when we cover Elogium, for every time I use the term Space Nonce, with that going to a chosen charity, simply because I'm going to bankrupt myself when we have to talk about that episode.
when we announced that episode, I mean, this is so weird, guys. This is why I have trust issues over my mobile phone. Facebook suggested an article about how problematic that episode was, and I'm like, I really don't want to cover this one.
I was talking to someone about it the other day. How do you feel in the I love that the comment section is literally just people talking about dirty walks. They're literally all just talking about whether they clean their walk, whether they don't clean their walk, whether they. It's like they're as off track as we are.
Always make sure you wash your wok. All right. Yeah. No one likes a dirty wok. Go in the shower, give it a clean, be thorough.
Yeah.
But
get your fingers in there.
Thank you to everyone who is in the comment section. Thank you to everyone who is watching this. It really, really means a lot. We've got another Space Nut Dystopian Prophet. We've got Beth. We've got Crimson. We've got someone called The Velvet Snatch. We've got the Transporter
Amateur.
Room. Hello, Chris. Amateur. I know he's far too unsexy for this podcast. But yeah, rest assured, we we are back. We will be getting back on track once I am over this horrendous attempt at cooking. There will be a lot more going on, but we have got a lot to cover tonight because Paramount, in their infinite wisdom, decided we're going to release 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds. I was really unhappy with this because we only get, this is the first season of Strange New Worlds in 2 years. We only get 10 episodes. I wanted that space so we could adequately digest and analyze and pore over each episode and appreciate it in its own way that week. And Paramount have just gone, nope, here's 2 episodes, off you go. And I was like, oh, okay. Definitely not disappointed with them. I thought they were 2 absolute belters, and once again proved with Strange New Worlds you can go from one tone to the other at the flip of a coin and it will be absolutely fine.
I have to say, like, you know, I'm not mad at getting both the episodes together, but at the same time it kind of distills the joy a little bit because you just go, yeah, but you know, like, because rather than us having another week, like, you know, yeah, exactly what you said. But wow, like Strange New Worlds is incredible. Like I get so worried with other series and stuff. Like, you know, look what happened with The Witcher. Look what happened with The Mandalorian. Like all these shows where you're just going, how are you tripping up? You had a perfect thing.
Yeah.
And then like Strange New Worlds, there was this element where I was just going like, oh, but what if they ruin it? Like, what if they go like, hey, let's totally change stuff? And these first 2 episodes are absolutely incredible. They are totally different tonally, like you say, but they just point out like, oh my god, how lovable these characters are, how perfect the sort of the mood throughout the episodes is, how funny it is, like the amount of one-liners that Spock has in these 2 episodes, as well as introducing new characters. It's like it's mainly the second episode, but it literally goes, hey, here's like 3 new characters, but then they just work. They just, you know, actually no, 4 new characters that it goes, 3 of these are ongoing, 3 of these will just continue on as regular cast members. And I have thoughts on that we'll get to later, but it introduces them so well and starts fleshing them out so well that you're like, yeah, you're gonna boss this. And it's rare for me to have that much faith in a show, but this is incredible.
Yeah. Shall we get into the Hegemony Part 2? Because we waited 2 years for this, and the first straight off the bat, after the recap of season 2, episode 10, we get such a best of both worlds vibe because they brought back. And now the conclusion. And I was like,
that's the first message I made. I was just like, and now the conclusion. And then I wrote #moist afterwards.
Oh, it was splendid. It was fantastic because I was just like, yeah, this is 90s Trek. This is what they've done. You know what
though? The thing that hit me, like it hit me in that moment, it made me a bit emotional because I wasn't there when that was happening for the first time, because I obviously, like, unlike you, I didn't get to see sort of Voyager and DS9 and TNG as it was coming out. I saw reruns. And so I kind of, and as we've been talking about the best and worst 2-parters, because obviously in recent previous episodes we've reviewed like the best 2-parter and the best end of series 2-parter and the worst end of series 2-parter. And it's just crazy being like, whoa, this is the first one that I'm here for, like, in terms of, like, live-action Trek. The first one I'm here going, oh, shit, yeah, we've got a sort of... We're continuing on what happened there with the Gorn and stuff. And it's... I don't know. It made me feel like a child again in a wonderful way.
Out of these 2 episodes, this is the one I least liked. Now, that is not saying that I hated it or didn't like it at all. These 2 episodes are impeccably good. It's just I very much preferred the second episode because it just worked. I think with this episode, with Hegemony Part 2, I think Part 1 did a lot of lead work in building up this impending crisis, this impending threat from the Gorn, where it was more or less de-escalated fairly quickly in this episode. And reviewing this episode again, I got so much best of both worlds vibes from it, from the way it was set up to the actual solution to the problem as well. I don't know if
Yeah.
you got that.
Oh,
but,
I did.
yeah.
But no, it wasn't. Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it was.
It was.
Yeah,
For some
yeah.
reason, in my notes, even though we literally just covered it,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, it was Hugh when they did that, and I'm like, no, it's Picard. It's with the keepers and
Picard,
stuff.
it's
It was sleep
Picard.
signal.
They sent
Yeah.
him to sleep. They went to
But
sleep.
it was, and I like that, but it's a weird one though, because what they've done is they've written themselves in a clever way where this might not be the end of the Gorn.
Yeah.
Like, so in that kind of weird way where they've kind of done it as, oh, if we don't actually want to pursue the Gorn war thing, we can just leave it as it is, and it's a bit too sharpish that we solve that. But
Yeah.
there's no reason why in next season they can be like, actually, there is a war with the Gorn, and it takes over the whole thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's good
yeah.
writing that they've gone, hey, we're not going to let this take over season 3, but also I think they dealt with it in a good way. We've only got one episode.
It's
mate.
absolutely terrific because the stresses of what's happened with the Gorn attacking the Enterprise in the last season, and the way that they. I love Pike so much because you can see that this is a captain severely under pressure trying to maintain a cool, and everyone around him is doing the best they can and coming up with the ideas to try and figure out.
That first scene though is so beautiful. It's exactly what I want from Trek, where it's like he's literally going around the bridge being like, okay, any ideas? And people are suggesting stuff, and he's like, no, not that, no, that won't work, kind of thing. But then he's selecting different people, and it's showing what a good leader he is, because these are the skills that we commend Picard for, where Kirk's kind of like, hey, I'm going to do my own thing, whatever, and Janeway's like, how can I murder as many people as possible?
And drink coffee.
Yeah, that's it. Whereas, like, Pike is very much, he's involving everyone, he's coming up with ideas. And it's skipping ahead massively, but I really love that in this episode, he's so stressed on the bridge, but he's still being compassionate to his crew and whatnot. He's worried in the back of his mind about what's going to happen to his girlfriend, Patel. And then at the end of the episode, you get to see him sort of destroyed a little bit, like sort of literally, he's gone through the wars, getting through all of this. And he just has a little bit of a mini mentee bee, like a little bit of a sort of letting it loose and just being like, it fleshes him out so much.
It's what I wanted Discovery to be, because the camaraderie between the crew and the equal screen time that the crew has, and the way that he involves them in the decision making process, makes him one of the best captains. Like, not even the decision, like when they are heading back to the binary stars and he goes to Mitchell, look, you've been on shift for X amount, get relief. And she's just like, with all due respect, no. And then he looks at her and he's like, oh, okay. But it's that, do you know what I mean? But that is a level of like comfort that this crew has with one another, with their captain. They can show the captain the immense amount of respect that he deserves, but they can also have that banter. They can have that to and from with each other. And the fact that as a captain, he relies on the help of his crew to come up with ideas and to think outside of the box, and he openly encourages that, to flourish, makes him a good captain. And what we see here is, he's under immense pressure from every single angle. The love of his life is dying in sickbay. There's a potential invasion of the Federation. He's going to lose 200 odd colonists. He's going to lose the crew, the Enterprise, and the Enterprise itself. And he's just trying to juggle all this and wear as many hats as possible on that beautiful head of hair that he has got. And he manages to go through it all with the help of his crew.
Yeah,
not on his own. He
wouldn't have been able to do any of this himself, and it's purely because people believe in people and people work together. Like, it's everything in this episode. Like, when we talk about, when you get plots where it's like, oh, that's a coincidence, or oh, that's lucky that happened. I don't think there's any of that in this. All of the stuff that happens in this episode is controlled. Like, the idea of they're able to find how that happens because Scotty works out, has that thing that basically masks the ship to make it think that it's Gorn. Wonderful bit of background on the Gorn as well, like fleshing out the Gorn a lot by going, hey, they don't have windows in their ships. They literally go by heat signatures and stuff. So if you match that, you can become invisible, which also gets around the idea of how do you have a cloaking device for this episode, but well before cloaking devices existed in Trek, without breaking the law. Oh, what a great bit of writing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's all the stuff, but then all the moving parts come together, but it's not unbelievable. It's not sort of, you know, like the Star Wars
There's
thing.
no
Where it's like,
Voyager
we found
science.
this random item, and it's the only thing that fits here. And oh, look, magically that goes, you know,
Yeah. There's no Voyager science, as we call it, where something just miraculously happens to help the plot along. This is like everything is fluid and everything goes towards the natural conclusion of the episode.
And that's the thing, and it does all of this amazing plot line, because you know, you're saying you don't like this episode as much as the second one. I can't compare them. They're like two children where you can't go, hey, I prefer one of the other, because they're both brilliant in their own ways, except the ginger one. But it's but the fact of it does all of this in one episode, and then still manages to flesh out the characters and do this wonderful world, the relationships where it goes, hey, here's where Chapel and Spock are. Here's where sort of where Umbenga and the rest of the team, and here's Lan getting over the Gorn, and that, you know, and what's the amazing one that I really liked? Pelia and Scotty.
Oh,
like, because that's the thing. My big thing in the back of my mind was, oh God, are we going to lose Pelia now Scotty's here? Is she going to get given a back seat? Are they going to go, oh well, she just left and went back, you know, like pull a what's her name, Pulaski kind of thing. But then instead they get these scenes together that are essential for the plot, but also serve to go, here's the dynamic between them, here's how they're going to work together, and makes you like both of them more. I mean, the whole, when Scotty's kind of like, I can't remember how I built this, and she's like, did you not take notes? What? Why were you never in my lessons? You know, and it's like, and then at the end where he's like, oh, I can't figure it out, and she runs in screaming at him going, we're all gonna die and stuff, and then he immediately fixes it, and she's like, aha, you fucker, that's how you work. You know, and it turns out that actually
we see,
and it's great that it goes, he works well under pressure. And that's exactly what we see in the original series.
Yeah.
So they're respecting the original series by being like, here is a guy who always works on the seat of his pants, and that's when he does his best stuff. And I love it. So
even in his no, because we're going to be dancing all the way around this episode anyway, and the other episode. But what we see in these first two episodes for Scotty is not the origins of Scotty, but the origins of the way Scotty is. So, like you said, he doesn't know how to make this masking device for a memory. He didn't make notes. So Pellier, you know, uses out of the box thinking and goes, "The God on the ship, it's going to be an invasion," and that makes him shit himself, which is something I'm about to do, and then create the device. And he
according to the poll.
According to the poll, my mother's just texted me and she's like, "You look great." I'm like, I'm holding it all in, and we
Hello, Mama Goodwill.
Bring toilet roll.
Mama Goodwill.
But we see that is what Scotty does. Scotty flies by the seat of his pants, and he can, he is the miracle worker, and he's the miracle worker because when all odds seem against him, he's able to pull it out and get it done. And then in the second episode where he's like, "Oh, I'm not much of a drinker," has some really bad food, and he's just like, "Give me the brandy." And, it's just like, it's tiny little mannerisms like that build up. You don't have to make a song and dance about it or anything like that. It just helps fluidly form these characters into the ones we know and love.
It does everything that a prequel should be doing.
Yes.
It goes, hey, I need to fit in this slot. How do I do that? I know what it's like we have in programming where you have black box and white box. Where it's black box, you don't know what specifically happens inside it, but you know that it goes in this way and it comes out that way. Sorry, I'm talking too much about your bowel system, but but it's that thing of it fits in neatly into that, and it's so perfect. Like, I just feel like after Strange New Worlds has finished doing its thing, we're just going to be like, yep, that fits perfectly into canon, and we're really happy with it, and it's now part of the Star Trek universe, which is what we struggled with stuff like Discovery, and like a lot of people are struggling with Picard, where they're kind of going, do we really want it to continue like this? Like, do we, in that kind of weird way of people being like, oh, actually, Is this how the post Voyager should be?
Really, really, really. I would give my hind leg to have Legacy at the moment. I really would. But the way the Paramount is going, but with Hegemony, I want to talk about the Gorn. I want to talk about the world building of the Gorn and
I'm laughing at the Hey Mama Goodwill in the chat. Everyone's saying hi to Mama Goodwill.
I want to talk about the way that they've built the Gorn in Strange New Worlds into this. The fact that the ship that the colonists and the crew are abducted in has a digestion chamber and is just actively that, for me, that put chills up my spine when they deduced that, because we knew from the previous season and the season before that the Gorn use humans and people as food and stuff like that, or they use them as like incubators for their young and stuff like that. But to see a ship that actively digests people and then discards the waste, I mean, it's a very niche reference, but I got a lot of vibes from Mass Effect 3, where the Reapers would take the people, they would take them up to the Citadel and just actively mulch them and digest them and turn them into something else. And it's so terrifying. And it reminds me of that. Is it Jordan Peele's film Nope?
Up.
With the
Nope.
No.
Oh,
Nope.
Nope,
Yeah, with the alien that sucks people up, and then you can hear the screams of the digesting and stuff. Oh god. I just got that vibe from it, and I'm like, this is top tier world building for a species that we've only seen really in the original series and briefly in Star Trek Enterprise. This is truly fleshing out a species and making them really terrifying.
Yeah. I just want to say, well done, Chuck. That's amazing. Sorry, Chuck has just said he has to leave soon, but the hospital is having a bell ringing ceremony for their 2-year-old granddaughter, who is now cancer-free. Whoa, what a fighter you've got there. 2 years old and beating that. That's incredible.
As I always say, fuck
so
cancer.
Yep.
Yeah. It's done, chaps. I am so pleased. So pleased. I'm sure everyone else watching this as well will be sending their love, as well as me and Science Officer Synoiz. It's just, that's beautiful.
But anyway, back to using people as fuel. But it reminds me of the Tyranids from Warhammer 40,000, because that's what they did. They had bioships where basically it's like, oh, well, how else is it powered? So they'd capture people, they'd sort of melt them down effectively, and then they'd create new creatures out of their biomass effectively. And it's terrifying as a concept. But and I love that, because the fact is, like, Strange New Worlds has been building up the Gorn as this terrifying enemy of going, like Larn being like, oh god, the nightmares, it's awful. And then it's like, well, if it turns out to just be some plastic suits and like, oh, they're just stabby like the Klingons, because the Klingons are scary, but they're not nightmare inducing. They're basically like they're like, oh god, like an enemy. But the fact of that they're managing to make the Gorn so horrific, like they implant you like with their young and whatnot, and that there's no stable cure for that, as this episode talks about. And they digest you and fuel their ships with you. They can't even talk your language. Like, they're a wonderful enemy, and hopefully we'll see more of them. But
it's the type of enemy, like I keep saying, that they are not evil. They don't think they are evil. They are doing what they do to survive. And it is, the coronal mass ejection dictates when they are awake, when they hibernate, and they just see any other sentient or whatever life form as fuel, food, and incubators. And that's a terrifying thought, that nothing goes to waste. Do you know what I mean? They use you as food, they use you as fuel, and then they select people for incubators so that the young can eat you from the inside out. And
it's that terrifying thing. It's the same as all body horror, where it's the idea of aliens that care so little about our feelings and our actual humanity that
Yeah,
they just see us as objects. Like, that
yeah,
they are just going, "Hey, that's you," and that makes them terrifying. They're superbly done. Like, to take a race that's existed in Star Trek lore for a long time, aside from one boulder-tastic fight scene, haven't really been fleshed out that dramatically, and then basically making them going, yeah, this is great. I feel like I can watch the older stuff now with a greater sort of respect and go like, hey, if I watch the original series, imagining that thing throwing the boulder at Kirk
mm,
is one of these, I'm going to enjoy it more.
yeah.
And it's amazing that can happen after like 60 years.
And we also get to again address the PTSD that Laan suffers
Yeah.
from with being liberated from one of those gone planets, and we see her deal with that in, quite frankly, the worst place that she could be in
Yeah.
as a survivor of that. And the way that Umbenga, who also, let's be honest, suffers from PTSD, mentors her and coaches her through how to deal with that and how to keep herself present. And the way that she just claps back, where he's like, "You're not there, you are here," and she's like, "Yeah, but here's not great either."
Yeah.
And I'm like, slap a bit of logic on it, Lan. I do like that. That's very good. Yeah. But it's,
But I like, though, that her previous experiences, her nightmares, are the thing that saves all of them. 'Cause
yeah,
it's her being able to actually snap out of it and kind of wake up and get herself out of the digestion chamber, so to
oof,
speak,
oof.
and then save everyone else, because otherwise that wouldn't have happened. If if her mind hadn't been kind of like, "Hey, cool, you've been through this, you've gotten through this before," like, and I love that. Like, I love that she saves everyone. But I will say, though, because we're probably gonna have to move on from the Gorn
Yeah.
stuff, but it's the fact of like how wonderful it is that it has a character being threatened. Like, because that characters can't die, but then you still go, "Oh God, what's going to happen?" Because obviously, when they get Ortega out of the pod,
I thought that was it.
half of her arm is melted, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
God, are they going to kill Ortega?" And then the episode kind of teases it, but not in a dickhead way. It kind of goes,
Yeah.
"Look, this is how serious these things are," and it makes it believable that we might lose her. But it's also the idea of, you see some of the bodies in the actual sacks and whatnot, and they're like literally just skeletons. And I am kind of a bit terrified of what happens at the end of the episode, because spoilers, at the end of the episode they manage to get a transporter signal to the Enterprise. They teleport all of the survivors out of the sacks and onto the Enterprise, but doesn't really address the fact of a lot of them might actually be half melted. And that's going to be a horrible scene when someone just gets teleported out of a pod.
Well, yeah,
onto
because
the
they're being
Enterprise.
digested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and literally like half their skin is burned off, and you're just going, "That's horrible."
I want to say thank you to Duncan Fraser for joining us. He hasn't seen the episode yet, but he wants to say thank
Ooh,
you for teaching him
I've
the term
spoiled it.
neurospicy. You guys are fun.
Neurospicy.
We are so neurospicy. We are on our own spectrum.
Oh my God, I gave someone an 8-minute autistic voice note like info
That was
dump
me.
the other day, and no, it was someone else as well. And it was literally because I'm working on these music videos at the minute, and so I just went, "Here's all the concept," and it was just a solid 8 minutes of me explaining in great detail all of the conceptual bits of these videos that we're going to do. And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm not normal. I am definitely not normal."
When I go to the NHS and go, "Hey, I've got issues," instead of making me wait years, they're like, "We can see you Monday."
Like, it's because they're like, he's gonna go off at some point. We've got to help him.
I'm like, how many buttons were you pressing under the desk? Hmm?
He's here. He is here.
Yeah, but
They do, where they just throw a carrier pigeon out the window. Like,
there's
"Oh."
just a doctor in a corner firing a blow dart in my neck. But you're gonna need 6 more, fella. But I genuinely thought And I know she was in the trailers and everything like that, but for that split second, I genuinely thought they were messing with us and that we were going to lose Ortega in this episode because of the way it played out and the way that, you know, she lost part of her arm and a hand and she got literally gutted by that Gorn. And I was like, I don't want to lose her mainly because she's an awesome character.
Yeah.
But in all due respect, I want an Ortega's episode, a standalone
We've
Ortega.
been saying it. We've been saying it.
I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it.
What I love though, this episode, everything happening in this episode, all the stuff that this episode manages to do, it manages to flesh out its characters wonderfully, but it also manages to give that ray of hope of going, we've got an Ortega plotline. We've got an Ortega's like sort of where it just goes, hey, this is a thing that she's going to deal with this season, and so she's going to have episodes, she's going to have stuff, because she's always been amazing, but she has always been that bridge officer. She's always, you know, that ensign on the bridge being like sort of, okay, they're there, but they're not, like you know, basically like O'Brien in TNG, where you're just going, he's there every episode, but when he does get his own episode, it's when he's marrying the greatest evil in the universe. So
damn you, Keiko!
And technically, that's a Data episode. It's actually called Data's Day. Yeah, there we go.
For those just joining, the greatest villain in the Star Trek universe is, of course, Keiko O'Brien. Coming soon to this channel, you will see a fantastic and delicious breakdown, PowerPoint presentation of why Keiko O'Brien is the greatest villain in Star Trek history.
We have so much evidence towards this. Some of it is also not fabricated.
Some of it may look fake. Some of it may look fake. But unlike certain administrations...
You mean like a certain list that America's struggling with?
Unlike certain administrations, we disclose the juicy bits. But to boil it down for the new viewers, we firmly believe that Season 3 of Picard would not have played out had Miles O'Brien, the greatest Starfleet personnel that ever... Well, Starfleet member, because he's not an officer, but greatest Starfleet engineer who ever existed. He would have resolved this at episode 3, and we firmly believe that Keiko O'Brien was keeping him trapped in a mind prison, and she was pulling the strings behind the Dominion and the Borg and the Changelings.
O'Brien is basically the Captain Marvel of the Star Trek universe, where it's like, oh, they're just not here, so
except
he's gonna have to have tension then.
Except he's got depth, character, and is likable, and is not compared to Poochie from The Simpsons. But we
tell us how you really feel, Goodwill.
And when she's not on the screen, they should be going, hey, where's Captain Marvel? I have to go now. My planet needs me.
I'm laughing because it's so true.
But getting back...
True.
But
hold on. Before we even do that, the poll is concluded now, and according to our wonderful, wonderful live viewers, how will Captain Goodwill die? 89% of us believe death by poop. So that's something to look forward to. Let's see if the health insurance covers that.
Getting there. I'm seriously debating if the camera cord is long enough to go to the bathroom.
Oh,
but yeah. Come with me, children. No.
Come with me. And
you'll see a toilet of pure terrifying. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
Oh God, I've literally started thinking of lyrics for that, and I'm gonna stop.
Come with me.
A basin full of rotten chicken.
You'll see a U-bend of pure terrifying pooping. It is red, it is pink, and it smells of chicken. Right.
I love actually with the poll, 89% say death by poop, 10% say Gorn attack, and there's a missing percent somewhere where I don't know how that happens.
I think it's Beth.
The percent is Beth.
I think it's Beth.
Well, we know it's probably death by Nova. If
death? No. Death by Beth. Death by Beth.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean that is what the Romanian fortune teller told me. She was just like, one day.
I saw the card. It had a pram with a dog in it, and I was like, "That's it. That's how I go."
Sorry, Sorry, viewers, if you don't know who Beth is, this isn't going to make any sense whatsoever. However, for us, it is incredibly hilarious as a nerdy up north in joke.
She's a wonderfully terrifying fan of my Twitch stream who revels in the ability to A, make me scared, B, make me dance until I am quite literally liquid, and overheat everything in my room. So I think it's going to be Death by Beth. But yeah, I want to talk about Patel and the surgery that Chapel and Spock do to try and save Patel as well. Again, I really got to give it props to the makeup artists and makeup crew in Strange New Worlds for this episode, because it is spot on when it comes to injuries, when it comes to the set, like the makeup and the gunge and the digestive tracts, and then just the way that they use the Gorn eggs and the little Gornlings or whatever in the back of Patel, and it's just like how they made it look like real skin stretching as
It is. It's brilliant. It's like I'd say, because I have a main key thing that I want to talk about a second episode about that I praise it on, and this one I think it is the makeup and the special effects in that regard.
Yeah. But again, it's despite everything that has happened between Spock and Chapel, they work really well together, and Spock thinks, what was it? What did he actually say? Did he say outside the box?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Did he say around the box or something like?
Around the box. I can't remember, but I like that it starts off with Chapel panicking because she's trying to find solutions. She's running all these possible drugs and whatnot through the computer, and it's doing simulations and going 100% chance of fatality. There is no way that she's going to survive this, and she's doing this. And she basically contacts the captain saying, I don't think I can do this, it's not looking good. And the captain just goes, hey, keep on with it, kind of thing. I'll send Spock to help.
I believe in you.
Yeah, that's it, because she's trying, but you can see they've literally kept her covered in blood because it's a direct continuation from the previous episode. But she's literally blood spattered, trying desperately to find this stuff, and it's wonderful. Like it's not like she's cleaned up and she's done her hair and stuff like that. It's going, no, she's gone straight from the wars to actually sort of do this. But then Spock comes down and they start running stuff together, and then they start having off-the-wall ideas, like, because that's it. What Spock comes up with, the out-the-box idea, the off-wall, is like an Orion street drug, saying, hey, maybe this would work. And she's like, we'll give it a go. And that's what I love, though. They give it a go, and it still comes back with 100% fatality. It still goes, no, that's not going to work. And usually in these things, they have the weird idea, and then it actually just immediately works. And it's like, oh, that's the magical thing. But they don't. They kind of go, oh, well, that didn't work. We'll keep trying. And they go through other ideas and whatnot. But then eventually they settle on one that basically has like a 84%, is it 86%?
86% chance of fatality. Yeah, it gives Patel a 14% chance of surviving.
And obviously you're like, oh yeah, I bet he's gonna survive from that. Oh, how cheesy, kind of thing. But it doesn't do that. It kind of goes, they start doing the surgery where they start getting ready for it, being like, hey, we have to actually do this. Where they have to actually do this, and then in the middle of the surgery they go, how about actually we try something else? There's not time to see what the simulator says, but actually, and I like that, where it kind of goes, it's not just going, oh, we got the magical 14%.
Because what it is, for those that don't remember, Patel was infected with
Gorn
babies. So she was essentially inseminated with Gorn DNA to be used as an incubator for these Gorn hatchlings. So the solution that they had in the last episode was, we're going to put her in cryostasis because we don't know how we can resolve this, how we can eliminate this from her system, and the only way that we can come up with a solution is to put her into cryostasis. So in this episode, Chapel does that, but then they realize that she is allergic to the chemical that they use to put her in cryostasis, so that the clock is then ticking again. And they go through all these simulations, and then they come up with the novel idea of using Una's DNA, Illyrian blood, to help metabolize and repair and help Patel heal. So what they originally think is when they do the surgery, we will extract the Gorn hatchlings, and then we will inject the Illyrian DNA, and then it will go to repair the damage and everything like that. And I love the bit where Chapel is literally about to extract it, and you can see the close up of the hatchling trying to poke out, and then Spock goes, "No, wait. What if we've been going around it the wrong way? What happens if we just inject her with the Illyrian DNA, and then her metabolism and her immune system actively fights and satiates the Gorn, and then fights to metabolize them?"
I think what they say is, how about we feed the Gorn so that they don't need to explode out and sort of,
satiate them,
satiate them, and then after that's happening, then put the blood in so that the immune system can then fight them when they're not as angry, when they're sedated.
And it's
genius. A genius idea, and also what I love about this is that it's. I think maybe it's going to happen, but it's the idea of, obviously, as we've had Ad Astra per Aspera in season 2, amazing episode. We did a full review of it if you haven't seen, so go back a couple of weeks and we've got our wonderful review of that. Well, we've done 2 reviews of it now. But the idea of, like, they're putting, Una's DNA, like a mutant DNA into her. So is Patel maybe going to have side effects from that?
Is there going to be ramifications?
Yeah, that's it. Are there going to be bits where maybe she becomes Illyrian? Maybe she becomes like a sort of, what's the term? Not
augment.
Is she going to become an augment as a side effect to this? And then is that going to cause ripples within like Starfleet or whatever of being like, oh well, she didn't ask for it and all of this lark, and and maybe it'll start that debate again, and hopefully get us more character development for Patel, who is only ever we never remembered her name in the previous 2 seasons. We've always kept forgetting her name and being like, oh yeah, the one, Pike's girlfriend. And so I'm looking forward to her having more to do this season. Fingers crossed.
The main plot is, of course, Pike and his crew have to save the colonists and prevent a full-blown Gorn invasion of Federation space. And I love to.
That happens as well.
I love the reintroduction of Robert April into this, Admiral April, where he's just like, officially you are there to patrol, because Pike just basically says, you have got this entire fleet and you are just going to use it as a show of force. We need to do something, because that demarcation line will not just stop there. They will keep going. They will keep going. And it was very reminiscent of Picard in First Contact, where he's going, they simulate entire worlds and we fall back. Pike was basically saying, do you really think they're going to stop at this line? They are going to keep going and going and going until it is too late, and we need to do something now. And I love the fact that April is the type of admiral where he's like, officially you're ordered to do a patrol, unofficially punch them. Show them what we've got. Strike the first punch. And that is the type of admiral that you want on your side. One that's not, because we get a lot of what we call badmirals in Star Trek. We get ones that are absolute dicks, or they're just
we get good ones, I think, is the problem.
Robert April.
We do. We've got Robert April now, but
Admiral
he's still
Kirk.
got time. He's still
Admiral
got
Kirk,
time to be a dickhead.
the admiral from DS9 as well.
Which one? Oh,
Discord.
no.
Yeah.
Is he a good admiral?
He's a good admiral.
I was having a discussion with a friend the other day, and it was a very nerdy discussion about DS9. And it was talking about like how terrifying it is that at the end of DS9, that what's his name? The admiral.
Oh God, is it Anderson? No, it can't be Anderson.
No. I've totally forgotten his name. But basically,
chat, let us know.
Yeah, chat. What's the name of the admiral who basically conducts the war effort in DS9?
Yeah.
But it's effectively, he has all of the power. He is pretty much the Palpatine of the Federation, where you just go. He is in charge of everything. They still have a massively militarized power system. They have all that, and it's just like, whoa, that's kind of terrifying that we're just expecting him to step down from all of that, and then Cisco, the only person that could challenge
Admiral
him,
Ross
vanishes.
Admiral
Ross, there
Ross. Oh, the
I was
endorphin
thinking
rush.
Robert, and I knew it wasn't Robert, but yes, Admiral
Admiral
Robert.
Robert.
And it is it's Admiral Robert. Hello, and it's basically just like yeah. Hello, I'm Admiral
Hello,
Robert.
I'm Admiral Robert. Nice to
Hello.
meet you.
But yeah, massive tangent there, but I wouldn't class him as a good admiral because he's still willing to give up Odo, you know.
I really love though. I really love as well with this story where they're going to going back to for the colonists. I love that they introduce a bit of science, and I love that they go back to that old 90s Trek way of going, where they look at the two binary stars and they watch the Gorn ship and they realize that it's not doing anything. There's no force field. It's literally using the light and the gravitational pull, and it's like these two stars act as a mirage, as a cover, and they deduce that maybe this is where the Gorn homeworld is, and that's how they he's good, but also part of Section 31. The good Section 31. The good Section 31. Not
the good section, like
not
the ones who are
Temu Section 31. Guardians of the Galaxy from eBay. But
your napkin.
I don't know where my napkin is. I don't know where it's probably disintegrated because the quality, like the film, was poor. But
Someone posted on Nerdy Up North the other week. They were just like, "I've just watched this." It was effectively that post, and I was like, "Yeah, we were like that a couple of months ago."
So on my Paramount Plus, I've got all the Star Treks, except Section 31, and every time I log in, it goes, "Hey, why not check out Section 31?" And I'm like, "Hey, no." But ban. But yeah, so the fact that they go back to using science and they deduce that Gorn uses light waves and to communicate, and they use the radiation and the coronal mass ejections and to wake up, to hibernate and to communicate and to hide essentially from everyone else. And
yeah, they use light to talk between their ships rather than sort of like sound
brilliant. Yeah, and it's because Uhura goes, these are an evolved species. They have evolved past like the communication that they use light. They use, and you can see it in the capital ship that they have that's digesting. This is an organic vessel. This is like was it Moira from Farscape? Yeah. But sorry, I just thought of Claudia Black and my IQ dropped. But
hey, to be fair, I watched Farscape. All of us watched Farscape for all the wrong reasons, and that's a sign of a perfect sci-fi show.
It was a sci-fi show?
I don't know, but he had his arms out in one of the episodes, so.
But it just shows how advanced the Gorn are, and that equally as well. That makes them so much more terrifying because you think of the Gorn as being at the same technological level as as the Federation and stuff, and it's like, no, they are way more advanced than what we have thought. And the solution, going back to their solution to stop a potential Gorn invasion of, let's just best of both worlds it, where they're going, well, if the CME could trigger them to awaken and feed and hunt, could the CME trigger them to hibernate? We don't know how long it would trigger it, but could we fake a CME? Could we use the Enterprise to fake a coronal mass ejection to sort of communicate to the Gorn to return back to hibernate? And it's very much the best of both worlds, where Picard and Data go, we can't defeat them, but we can send them to sleep. We can essentially shut them off, send them to sleep, and then they are no longer a threat. And I like that they've done this in the same vein.
I think it's great. It's like giving a goth like their nighttime can of Monster to send them to sleep early, you know? It's that idea of just tricking them in that kind of way. And I think it's a wonderful all of it is wonderful because we get the it all feels believable. The way they solve things, even though it's science voodoo, they solve everything with
If
logic
if
and in a
anyone
believable, consistent way.
if anyone out there loves me, you will get me all of these from
What
America.
is it? Is it upside down or is it NOS?
Nos.
Nos.
Nos. It is that literally saved my life for the last few weeks. So because I like I said, I've not been sleeping, so I have been running on
Yeah.
caffeine and rage. So
Have you considered maybe not having all the nos and maybe actually sleeping?
have you considered shutting the fuck up? Getting back to the getting back.
Have you tried just you know it's just actually to be fair I had exactly the same problem because I was literally when I was down in Manchester a couple of months ago I was with a mate who was a doctor and a friend of mine was complaining. He's like, oh, I've got all these weird symptoms, I've got all these bowel problems and I've got this that and the other and stuff and oh my back's starting to hurt a bit and stuff. And I was asking my doctor mate, I was just like, hey, do you know what these are? Here's his symptoms and stuff. And he was like, oh, I can't think. It could be this, but he's going to have these other symptoms. He was going through everything and he was just like,
I'm
wait a
having
minute.
water before anyone asks. I am having
That's it.
water.
But then he basically said to me, sort of like, wait a minute, does your friend like drink energy drinks and stuff? And I was like, yes, he literally has a pallet of them from what's it called? From
Costco.
uh, pardon?
Costco.
Yeah, from Costco. Yeah, he has a pallet of them from Costco in the back of his car, and he has one for breakfast, one for lunch, about three on the evening. And
What?
my mate, yeah, and my mate was like, tell him to stop drinking the energy drinks for a bit. And then my
How
mate
has he not
stopped it.
seen through time?
Exactly. I'm like, I think it's the only thing that was keeping him alive. But basically, like 3 days later, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of fixed everything, you know. And yeah, it's like, yeah, they're not good for you, mate. You know, you can't.
I
just
was having
live
one or
on
two.
sugar
Yeah,
and-
I was having one or two, and that would be anything more than two. I literally would be a red shirt.
Yeah, it is his coffee. He has a breakfast one. He's just like, time for my breakfast can of Monster.
To be fair, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the episode. There's a random little tangent there.
Yes, but I love the fact that Scotty and Pellier sort of work together to use the Enterprise to fake a coronal mass ejection.
Well, they have a dysfunctional relationship, but
They
that
do.
fleshes them both out. We see how Pellier works, where Pellier is good at working with students and realizing how each student works and stuff, and how to sort of get the best out of them, even if they don't like it. Which is something that we've seen with her in previous seasons. Like people don't like her, because she's like a nasty teacher, but then she gets results. And
Yeah.
then Scotty basically just not being that confident in himself, like not being able to do stuff unless it's under pressure. And yeah, they literally probably get even less than 5 minutes the whole episode in terms of actual interaction, and yet I feel like we've massively built them up.
Yeah.
Like this is Scotty's second episode, and I'm so glad to have him here.
I love the fact that they are able to essentially make the Gorn return back to their space and hibernate, and this threat is gone for now, and it's just like it leaves it, like you said at the beginning of the episode, it just leaves that threat so open-ended, and it's been written so well, where it's just like we don't know when they will come back, we don't know how they will come back, and they've not gone.
It's not like something like Doctor Who where it just goes, hey, we've killed them all, and then you're just like, that's going to be difficult to write yourself out of later.
Yeah.
It's like you're making a problem for future writers. Instead, it kind of goes, hey, we've kind of solved. Like literally, I've been watching so much Doctor Who lore videos lately because I'm trying to get myself into it because I have loads of friends who love it, and I'm trying to get into it. And you watch it, and even the fans are like, yeah, we can't reconcile any of this. This just, literally, they all die. But then they're back again, and you're like, is it further back in time? No, they just come back, and you're like, okay, never mind.
overall, though, because I am aware we desperately need to move on to episode 2. Overall, though, this is a fantastic episode. It's a solid episode, really solid episode. I think my only criticism is that the Gorn threat goes away far too easily.
Yeah, this could definitely be a 3-part arc. This could definitely be 3 parts and have it where there's other stuff happening afterwards. This could be a whole season arc. But I think for the fact of going, hey, we've just got a 2-parter, we need to resolve the plot that we had, it does it. It could be better, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they could have stretched it out a little bit. We could have had but I was thinking, well, they really are trying to mirror best of both worlds here, and I think going down that route of like, hey, a big space battle and stuff like that, it could have taken away from it. So, like I said, it is a solid episode, and I would expect nothing less from Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And right at the end where we see Pike, after all this, we see Pike at his most vulnerable with Patel because he did not want to lose her. He really, this is a very loved captain, but he is good at his job and he commands respect. But we get to see him expose his vulnerabilities to Patel and expose his fears to Patel of losing her. And we get to see that other side of him just at the end of the episode. And it's a great little change because we very rarely got to see that with Picard. And Kirk was different because Kirk was Kirk. But Sisko was different as well. But we very rarely got to see that with the likes of Picard. And I think Anson Mount was the most perfect choice for Christopher Pike they could have ever done. And he has poured his heart and soul into this role. And it just... it makes me so sad that they are ending at season 5, and I know that's 2027. I know it's 2027.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe someone will buy them out. There's a lot that can happen.
Yeah.
But all we can do is keep supporting shows like Strange New Worlds and showing how much we love them by watching them, by encouraging others to watch them, and giving them the love that they deserve, in the hope that Paramount will be like, oh, maybe we will start paying the royalties and go on to a season 6. What a crazy concept.
I love Strange New Worlds.
Maybe
I love Strange New Worlds. Yeah, I love Strange New Worlds so much because this is for me. I mean, like I said, we've had good Star Trek over the last few years. We've had fantastic Star Trek. This, for me, very much like Lower Decks, takes us back to how Star Trek used to be and uses fantastic writing, directions, special effects and everything. He just does everything so well. Nothing overpowers another thing. The writing, the character development, it's all gelled, it's all fluid, and everyone gets their fair share of the limelight in each episode. And you get a world that is, the world is being built around you, and that is what Star Trek is about. Star Trek is not just the crew of the ship or a space station, it is the universe in which it occupies. And for the longest time, we only got the original series in the original series era. We don't know the worlds or everything. It's just great to flesh out a missing part of Star Trek history, and we get to find that out. And I really wish we had more opportunities with that, with those other shows, to build those worlds, to build those time periods.
Though, if the writers of this, if the showrunners of this, the people who are making Strange New Worlds as good as it is, can be involved in more different, other bits of Trek, then hopefully we'll continue this wonderful legacy of it. Legacy being the key word there. But I love this last scene, because this last scene between Pike and Patel made me emotional. I actually find myself getting really emotional at it, and I'm like, how has this episode done this? Where we've been fighting, we've had laser fights between the Gorn and the team. We've had horror with people sort of melting in pods kind of thing. We've had mass injury. We've had science. We've had space battles. All of this stuff going on. And then it still kind of goes, oh yeah, but we have this emotional thread between it. And we have these wonderful relationships. And you're like, this is amazing. Like, this is what a great start to the season.
This is
Yeah.
this is how writing should be. This is how the writing should be.
Yeah, this is how writing and acting should be. Like, it's just perfection. But
And-
speaking of which, let's move
And
on.
then we get a coin flip for episode 2.
Total
wedding
coin flip.
total coin flip. Wedding Bell Blues. And I love the fact that we've got a time jump with episode 2. It's 3 months later. It's the centennial.
You know what?
What?
Before you go any further, I didn't like that. I will argue with you there.
Really?
I understand it needed to happen,
Yeah.
but I felt a bit pissed off that it just went. It'd been it'd been saying for ages, like, oh my god, Chapel. So I was talking about Chapel Roan the other day, and then I was talking about Dave Chappelle, and now I don't know how to pronounce words anymore.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, Nurse
so-
Dave Chappelle.
Oh god, cancelled. But yeah, but basically, like, Nurse Chapel, like the whole thing of, oh, she has to go away for a while. How are her and Spock going to survive?
Yeah.
And then it kind of just sidesteps the whole thing, just going, oh, it's like, oh, Ortegas is hurt. How's she going to recover? And oh, like sort of, all of the, oh, how's Scotty going to integrate with the crew? And then it literally just goes, hey, we've jumped forward 3 months, and all of that stuff's happened off scene. It kind of annoyed me. I'm glad it happened, because it would be a whole season arc thing in order to
but
sort of do
again-
it normally.
But
But
again,
it annoys me that we're like, we could have had a couple of episodes without Chapel and like with a sort of thing going on,
this is the drawback of 10 episode
Yeah.
orders.
It should
we
be
don't
25.
We don't
Or more.
have. I mean, people working behind the camera and go, no, but 25 episodes. Could you imagine Strange New Worlds? 25 episodes of Strange New Worlds. I mean, it would be astronomically expensive.
I
the
don't think I can
quality.
get that hard, but
Oh.
I can imagine it.
I would need a blood transfusion.
I think you'd get one with that.
Yeah, but
It would go somewhere at least.
this is the problem. They have to distill all these stories and all these the evolution of the crew into just 10 episodes. And Dystopians just said that only 50 episodes is criminal. No.
Yeah.
46, because season 5 only has 6 episodes.
It's shocking. Like, they just
It's
go, hey, here's a
outrageous.
hit. Let's do
Yeah.
nothing with it.
Here's a hit. Here's no promotion until the previous day. Here is no merchandise for
Yes,
it.
2 episodes at once kind of thing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get it out as quickly as possible.
And then it's like, why is this not successful? Why is this not printing money? Oh, we're doing nothing with it. Cancel
Like, oh, but
cover.
that's expensive.
Yeah, cancel cover. 25 eps per season of Strange New Worlds. Sign me up. Absolutely, yeah. But it's only 6 episodes. 6 episodes of season 5. But they have to. The show has to move on. So for me, I agree with you. I would have loved to have seen that development of what we see in Ortegas in this episode, the acclimatization that Scotty has with the crew, building those friendships, how Spock has coped, not communicating with Nurse Dave Chappelle all the way through the 3 months, and just see that evolution. But because we only get 10 episodes, I mean, this is the thing. You look at the likes of Star Trek Enterprise, where they, the most modern of the 90s treks, right? You look at how they did that, you would have got that type of thing in that. We don't get it here. So we don't get an extra element of fleshing out the crew and allowing ourselves to bed in with the crew and become part of that family. So that, the time jump is a necessary evil in that respect, because it's, in real life terms, look, it's been 2 years since season 2. Everyone has to look a little. It's that season 3 syndrome. It's the season 3 syndrome that every show has. Everything has to look slightly different. Everything has to, people's hairstyles have to slightly change. People's mannerisms, clothes, everything has to just slightly change, because season 3, this is where they've hit the ground running. They've fleshed out all the kinks, and this is just like, This is 3 months later. The Enterprise has got a refit, and Uhura's got amazing hair, and we're doing the centenary of the Federation. We're gonna go all quirky, and they have to have that to move on. But I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. All right. This is confirmed. This is officially canon.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Trelane is a Q.
Yeah. Yes. If you haven't seen the episode yet.
No, it's not even explained. It's not even explained in the episode. It's not even explained that it's Trelane. It is officially confirmed by the producers.
It's John Delancey playing the dad.
Trelane is the son of Q.
Mm. Yeah.
Let's just address the elephant in the room. How good?
I have a name, thank you.
How with that trunk? How good? Really? How good is
Peanuts Goodwill?
How good is his performance as Trelane in this episode?
The thing about this episode is it's spectacular. We've just had a very serious episode, like a very beautiful episode, but a very serious episode, and then we immediately go into a comedy, light-hearted one with this one, with Trelane playing a sort of really campy, really silly, like villain in it, and it's just brilliant. Like, I have criticisms of it, but it's the fact of just going, this is how you do a comedy. And we've seen Strange New Worlds do this before, like masterfully just skip between all the tones and just be like, yeah, I can do that fine. And then I can have a PTSD episode, then I can have a comedy meet the mother-in-law episode, and it's like, wow, like how do you manage this and yet still feel the tone?
It is the most bipolar Star Trek I've ever encountered, and I'm here for it. And again,
I don't know, Star Trek's always like that though. Like, literally, I was watching DS9 the other day, and we have a comedy Quark episode followed by like a really serious like Dax episode. Like, what was it? What was I watching the other day? It's the one where she remembers her host that she.
Oh, it's season 3.
Yeah, and then then it has like a sort of comedy episode afterwards.
Oh god, it does. Yeah, where Quark becomes a Klingon house leader. Yeah.
And it's just so surreal that you're like, all of these tones,
House of
but
Quark,
it works because of great writing.
Yeah,
like House of Quark, they dodge the dabber wheel. But
you better take your hand off my leg before I break
it. That's a dabber line. That's it.
Oh, I know.
But Trelane in this episode, like, and the hilarious thing is, he's never named. Trelane is never named in this entire episode, but all of us know who it is. Like,
we know from
you see that outfit.
The outfit, the sideburns, we're like, that's Trelane. That is Trelane. What I also love as well.
I wasn't prepared for this because I don't know how you are, everyone in the chat, everyone watching. I don't know if you get two types of fans. You get the fans where they're literally there, looking for spoilers. They're on Reddit. They're talking to all the other people. They're getting all of the sort of the gossip and stuff like that. Or if you're like me, where you just step away, you just go, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want any spoilers. And the fact is, like, I looked after this episode, I searched online, and apparently it's been for months. It's been leaks and stuff of, oh, we now know that Trelane's in this season. We now know blah, blah, blah is happening, and this is the guy who's playing him. And I didn't do any of that. I didn't know any of that. And so it was wonderful getting that, oh my God, it's Trelane. And that was just the most wonderful thing to be surprised of. I was not expecting Strange New Worlds to have him in there, to flesh him out a bit more. It does flesh him out a bit more. It kind of gives a different aspect to his character.
It gives, it expands upon the Trelane that we had in the original series. But it also, like I said,
bringing up the thing,
bringing in Delance. Yeah.
Because
bringing in Delance.
Trelane he had a machine that controlled things, but then it turned out that the machine wasn't really needed, seemingly, and it was a bit confusing in the original series.
It was,
and now they've retconned it just to be like, he's a Q.
But to allude to it, they alluded to it in those old scientists where it's like, could it be a Q? No, they had a whole Trelane thing around this time, and then they brought in Trelane, and then to use the cameo of Delancey's voice as the father of Trelane.
Mm.
You know, it's sort of like, but then what I also loved as well, because we'll get into that a little bit, but the reason why he's there is because he was essentially, he saw Dave Chappell and Roger Corby uh, on their home world. So it also confirms that the Q, as a species, before they evolved into whatever omnipotent beings they have now, resided on a planet in the galaxy. They resided, on this planet that Corby and Dave Chappelle were excavating. And it's sort of, it builds into the world of Q as well, because it's like we have just witnessed clear identification that the Q as a species evolved from humanoid beings to the omnipotent gods that we have now.
And I think that's wonderful, because it's the fact of this is the whole point. Like it's I think Doctor Who struggles with this, but I think Star Trek could pull it off. The idea of going, if you are beyond time and space, like the prophets and stuff, because the prophets are a great way of doing it, where they don't understand linear time and whatnot. But the idea of, so why can't Q be from the future but then exist in the past as well? So it's the fact of, in Strange New Worlds, that's the time when Q's sort of fledgling planet is still evolving and whatnot, and the race aren't fully like omnipotent yet. They're still like blue streaks in the sky or blue clouds or however we see them here, but there's no reason why they can't then influence the past years ago and exist on the other side of the galaxy. And I think there's something wonderful about doing this, and it's like the Tom Paris thing that we had in Lower Decks, where it just goes, hey, we're just neatening this canon up a little bit and just making it all better.
Well, that moves on to my next point, the introduction of Dr. Corby, who is...
I'm going to say my criticism for this episode, and I'm worried, there is a streak of me that's a bit worried of, we've got all these characters, we love these characters, do you feel like we're getting too many new ones? Because in this single episode, we have the introduction of Dr. Corby, we have the introduction of Ortegas' brother, we have the introduction of, I don't think he gets a name, but the new science, the new doctor.
I know.
I don't know what his title is. He doesn't get named, and it's like, and then we're now getting a new barmaid, which is at the end, and you're sitting there being like, this is 4 new characters, and obviously we've just got Scotty, so I am a bit apprehensive of going, we only have like 26 episodes,
and let's not forget they are also let's not forget they are also teasing us with the fact that Scotty is not going to be the only TOS character that will be coming, that will be joining the Enterprise. Because let's not
Bones has to happen at some point.
For those maybe not be familiar with the Trek universe, this is from episode 2 onwards. It's 2261.
See you later, Dystopian Prophet.
See you later, Dystopian Prophet.
Thank you for joining.
Have a great. Thank you so much. So, Strange New Worlds takes place in 2261. That's season 3. All right. So, the events of the original series is 2266 to 2269. So the first 3 years, right? Now, between 61 and 66. The crew has to transition. They have to get the TOS crew onto it. And we know it's been more or less confirmed how Strange New Worlds will end. And we speculated on it right at the beginning when we first started reviewing season 2 that it will end with Kirk taking over, right?
Yeah.
We need McCoy.
Yeah.
We need Chekhov. We don't need Chekhov, but we need
Sulu.
Yeah, we need Sulu. We need the transition from the Strange New World crew to the TOS crew. So to try and do this within 26 episodes, that is a long thing. And then to introduce 4 new ones in this episode alone,
that didn't need to be there. Like, these are 4 characters that aren't any of those things we were expecting. So you're sitting there being like, and they all seem really good, because obviously Strange New Worlds has a great way of acting. Like the fact of it's so weird, he doesn't even have a name. I didn't even check the credits to see if he has a name. But the doctor, like the trainee doctor, I guess, and he's great. They introduce him perfectly, and they go, hey, he's only been here for a couple of months, kind of thing, but we're gonna keep him on. Like Omenga's gonna
Yeah,
keep him on as like a sort of student and whatnot. And you're just like, he's great. I kind of, and then his
I
bits
want to
throughout
know
the
more.
episode, you're like, I want to see more about him. I want to see
Yeah,
more
yeah.
about the bartender. I really like Ortegas's brother. In one scene, it fleshes him out, and it goes like, oh, they've got this kind of like, sibling relationship and stuff like that. Oh, he's a film director. He wants to do filming and stuff. Oh, what is it like? He's got a crush on Uhura, and that kind of builds up over the episode. It's amazing. It's really good how quickly they flesh these out. But you are sitting there being like, is this gonna stop Ortegas getting her fucking episode? It better not.
I think, I mean, let's just jump into the Ortega scene, because it's only really addressed at the end of this episode, where she leaves the centenary, and she goes, to train, and she looks out of the window and she sees the Gorn in the reflection. And I think, this is the obvious. She's got trauma from what happened. And I think that this is where the Ortega's episode is going to be led into. It's going to be her dealing with that. And I think, Ortegas is a veteran of the Klingon
opposite.
War. She's a veteran of the Klingon War. And I think what we're going to see is, I think we're going to see some real development for Erica Ortegas, because, like you said, with the previous episode, she's very gung-ho. She's like, I'm Erica Ortegas, I pilot the ship, I'm Erica, and she's all the way through season 1 and 2, she is that friend. She's the rock-solid, not cocky, but very confident con officer. She can, she knows that. And, but we also get inklings that, she fought in the Klingon War. She has seen something in that Klingon War. And I think what we're possibly are about to see is the build-up of trauma throughout the years come to a head, and she has to finally deal with it.
I don't know. I think it's interesting, because what we have with La'an is we have La'an who went from innocent. She went from being innocent, like she talks in this episode about how she wanted to be a ballerina, and then the Gorn happened, and then since then she had to toughen up. She had to toughen up for that, and since then she's never been able to let her guard down. She has a whole song about how she can't let her guard down and let people in. Yeah. Whereas Ortegas is the opposite, where Ortegas has gone through the Klingon War. She is, she is a fighter, and she's learned that over years. But this is what happened in episode 1 is her being humbled. Like, literally, she gets stabbed through the chest by this Gorn. She is utterly helpless, and she's kind of in this awful compromising situation of having to do her duty while her guts are practically spilling out.
Oh, God,
and I think that's the PTSD there, where it's the idea of her just being like, oh, I'm not invulnerable. I'm not actually, sort of, I've gone through all of this, but maybe I will die at some point. And it's kind of, and I think that's what she's dealing with. And I like that it's a different spin to the trauma that the other characters have.
It's sort of, I actually really agree. I think it's sort of given her the realization of her own mortality.
Yeah. And that's it. She's gone from cocky and confident, like, hey, I survived all this stuff, to going, oh, wow, okay, yeah, this is serious.
I'm not as invulnerable as I thought I was. Yeah.
That's how I kind of see it. And I see that as a nice little plot arc. But, hold on now. I'm not very happy with... So Chris Garris, I'm not very happy with how they're going with her. They've teased giving her an episode, and this is the way they go. They decided to move the trauma from La'an to her. I think that's it. The problem is, though, I disagree, Chris, because I think that what they're doing with La'an is they're basically going, hey, she started off traumatized. She has her song. She opens up to the crew, and she starts trusting the crew. And then here she is. She's evolved enough over these 3 months or whatever that she's now able to dance with Spock. She's now able to talk about her past and the Gorn attacks with the rest of the crew. So she's kind of coming out of her shell. So we're seeing character progression in La'an in a good way out of trauma. And we're seeing Ortegas take the other route where they're going into trauma.
Yeah, she's regressing into the trauma.
Because no one's stagnant. None of the characters are stagnant. They're constantly sort of building, and I like it, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Let's address the meat of the episode, shall we?
The meaty episode.
It is obviously the introduction of Roger Corbin. as Chapel's new partner.
Not Corbyn, Corby.
Corby, sorry.
If it was Corbyn, I'd vote for him. New political party coming soon. Hopefully, at least we have an option at the election. The next election.
You mean
it'd
there's
be
going
nice
to be?
to have a box I want to tick.
Look, as long as they are competent. But we see the introduction of Roger Corby, who, you know, hardcore fans will know is Chapel's ex-husband in the original series, or estranged husband in the original series. So we see the
spoilers. It doesn't work out.
Yeah, so that sounds like a UK thing, very much. But we see, you know, the beginnings of that relationship, the formation of that relationship, and you know, this was a personal episode for me, for certain reasons, and just seeing how Spock was dealing with the revelation that he held, you know, he held a candle for Chapel for 3 months. He did everything that she wanted him to do for 3 months, and then she just rocked up with a new boyfriend.
Yeah.
And you know, we see the emotional turmoil that Spock goes through in this episode, you know, which eventually leads to the alteration of the situation, shall we say, that Trelane puts them in. And it was just, he didn't show it, but you could feel it, which is the sign of a good actor. And this is why I like Ethan Peck as Spock, because the way that you can feel it just in his eyes, how broken he is because of this.
He will be standing there totally po-faced, you know, like in like DePaul, where you just go, it's how they don't play it that says everything. And you're like, what acting? That is incredible. And you can sense Spock's every emotion throughout this entire episode, and yet he's fully, well, he's not fully Vulcan, but he's acting fully Vulcan for most of it. It's brilliant.
It's absolutely brilliant. And you know, we see the introduction of Trelane, who senses this, and they are going for, I think it's at the sea where they're going for drinks, and then they go to the new Pork Galley, which is the new bar on the. I don't know why the Enterprise needs multiple
you said
bars.
Pork Galley, but I heard Pork Galley, and now I love the idea they just this is where we keep the pork.
David Cameron would have a residency, but we would, you know,
that's also a UK thing.
And we see, you know, there's a social gathering with the crew and Chapel and Corby. I keep nearly saying Corbyn, going on about you know, how he romantically took her to the peak of, you know, this mountain, and you know, he was like there was a equal, I don't know what he called it. It was an equal social
basically
solar
where
plane,
you can see the sun
and the moon and stuff like that. And he was, you know, he was. I am here lurking. I just don't want spoilers. Then cover your ears.
Oh yeah, sorry. There's a lot of spoilers. Hey,
but you know, this is where, you know, Spock realizes that she and Roger are, you know, they are serious, and they are.
And that's the thing that hits me, because it's like, while I have made peace with a lot of stuff and I'm a lot more zen now, in the past it would really upset me if you had an ex, or you had someone that you have a crush on, kind of thing, and it doesn't work out, but then you have to see them with someone else, and a lot of the time you see them with someone else and you're like, oh, they're really unhappy, and that kind of, you're like, oh, that's preferable, you know, like, and that happens a lot. But then the flip side of it is when you see them with someone else and you're just like, oh, fuck, they're really good together. Or like, actually, you know, and that's what happens in this one. Like, Corby is a really great guy. Like, the fact that the whole story is him going, hey, I remember that story, that he's so attentive, where he's like, listen to the story, he knows about her mother, like, knows when her birthday is, knows the last word she said, and he organizes this whole thing, and he has the jewelry, and it's really romantic. And it's like looking at someone being like, yeah, yeah, they deserve each other, but I'm not happy about it. And
That's
it's a
how I
gut punch.
felt. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I felt. I was like,
Because
yeah.
you can't dislike Corby, and the
No.
episode does a great job of introducing him, and you're just like, hang on, we want Spock to be happy, but also we kind of want her to be happy, and we want Corby to be
Yeah.
happy because he seems like a nice enough bloke, and
And I
and it's that nuance, it's not black and white, and
but
that's
I can't dislike
you're right.
him. I can't dislike him because much like O'Brien, he is an Irish person that is not completely stereotypically exploited. So
Yeah.
props from me for having Roger as an Irishman.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of appreciating the sort of the fact that Star Trek is slowly shedding that very dodgy Irish like association where it's like going, why is it so stereotyped? Why is it?
But then when Trelane is pretending to be the bartender, and he gives Spock the drink, and then he wakes up the next morning, and he's in bed with Chapel, and it's the day. Is it the day before their wedding? Yeah, it's the day before their wedding, and you go, oh, hang on, what's happened? And has Spock made a wish? Is Trelane acting like a genie, where he's just like, hey, fiddly dee, make a wish? Oh god, I've gone Irish.
Yeah,
but
no,
he's like,
you've ruined it.
but I'm so sorry. I'm the entire half of me is gone. But it's he's essentially given Spock what he wants because he senses Spock's rejection and heartbreak, and he's like, I want to see that. I want to give Spock exactly what he wants, and I want to give him the opportunity to be with Chapel, and he changes it all, and he alters everyone's minds and stuff like that. And it's kind of like they're not truly omnipotent, the Q, in a way where they can't go, here is a universe where you and Chapel got engaged, and this is happening, and this is happening. He's like, this is an infant Q who's only 8,020 years old that just alters the minds of people to make them believe that they're getting married.
It could be though that it's actually, it's actually because the Q aren't fully developed yet. Like the Q don't have the like we're seeing in this one where it's illusions, where it's the fact of they can put people under a spell, but there are ways for that person to break out of the spell. Whereas the Q that we know from like future episodes, their powers are far more greater than that. Like you couldn't, nothing could actually make you slip out of like Q's thing if he wanted you to think something. But it's because, I like that, and it's so. It's a weird one because I don't know whether to criticize or praise the episode based upon like how they handle Q, because the big issue with this episode is that it has Trelane and it's a bit of a Deus Ex Machina because nobody solves it. Like it's more it's that weird thing of going, if it had a line where the Q's dad, like Trelane's dad, basically goes, oh, my attention's been drawn to this because all these people are angry and shouting and stuff like that, and because they found you out, because basically we have it where Spock and Chapel like sort of snap out of it, and then they're sort of trying to wake other people up. But then it just kind of happens, like the episode is resolved by itself. Like it's unlike the original series where basically Kirk causes all these problems and stuff like that, and has him using more and more of his powers and stuff like that and getting himself in trouble. Instead, it's like, this would have just happened anyway, right? Like, none of our characters have any agency in it. But I love that it happened, but I do think they could have done that. And also, we have no idea what Trelane's motivations are. I assume he's just playing with dolls. He's just going, hey...
That's what I took from it.
I didn't have any ideas, but then this guy tells me this sob story about, like, the thing, and then I go, hey, cool, actually, wouldn't it be fun to give him what he wants and see how it plays out and give him a perfect wedding? And then he's kicking off because he's like, no, this is supposed to be perfect. Why am I doing this if it's not going to be exactly what I envisioned in my head? And it kind of works, but I think they could have gone harder with it. But I love what we got.
I really loved it, and I love the fact that Spock snaps out of it by decking Corby.
Yeah, they find out that really strong human emotions can snap you out of the spell at this point, and
Yeah.
his anger at Corby, like telling him all this like stuff about how romantic they are and stuff like that, it makes him like punch him in the face, and it snaps him out of it. And then in the actual wedding ceremony,
Yeah.
her being told Spock's amazing story and getting so emotional makes her go, "Oh yeah," and she breaks out of
Oh,
it.
that scene. Oh, I was. It got to me.
Yeah.
It really got to me because you can
You want
feel.
Spock to be marrying you.
Yeah, you can feel the pain in Spock's eyes as he is saying this, as he comes to the realization that he is not the right person for Chapel, that he didn't know what her mother's last words were or when her birthday was or anything like that, and you've getting that realization that he's not the right person, and it makes her snap out of it. And Corby's a bulldog because Trelane's turned him into one, and
It's so silly,
Sam
but
Kirk's
it's fun.
holding the dog leash, and he's just like, yeah.
I love it though, where we know that Sam Kirk isn't gay, but then the fans want Sam Kirk to be gay because he is incredibly hot.
Can
But
I just say,
I love that they've got it though, where it's like he is that they have him being that typical gay in this episode, where he's literally sitting there at the wedding with his dressed up bulldog,
yeah,
even though it is Corby. But I just love that kind of queer coding on that one shot.
can I just say the call out about the mustache though?
No, I wrote this down. Where when Spock's trying to snap Sam out of it, he basically says, "Everyone prefers your brother. Everybody hates your mustache, and you have terrible taste in wine." It's just like
Oh, I love it.
that
I
is how you
absolutely
would
love it.
take down a gay guy. But
That is how you
Sam
take down
isn't
a
gay and
Kirk.
doesn't follow it.
Yeah, that is how you take down a Kirk. The wedding, like the wedding, and obviously Q comes down to take his son Trelane away, and Trelane has a paddy and everything like that.
I love it though that Trelane does have the iconic sort of like no, you know,
No!
like, I don't want to. And
No,
I love
don't
it
want-
because it's played to perfection. Like it's just
Yeah.
this idea of like Trelane is such an iconic character in Trek,
Yeah.
even though is it just one episode? He never
One
comes back,
episode.
does he? One episode, such an iconic character. People have been cosplaying as him for decades now.
Yeah,
And I love I love that this guy came in, and yeah, he's Trelane. He plays it perfectly. He's exactly what we wanted. Do you agree, chat? Like, is he?
yeah. Do you
your
agree
Trelane as well?
I think it was an amazing portrayal of Trelane. I also think
I love it that he was really campy. He was really silly, and he was like really sort of like that. But it
oh
it
god,
didn't get
oh
in,
god,
oh. What? Whoa! What's happening?
thunder. Oh, there was so much thunder there. The room vibrated. Sorry. Anyway, go on.
Thunder in paradise. Mess
I
with them and
I
you're
assure you,
playing with your
I assure
life.
you, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, I am not in paradise.
Red car.
Dead
Sunniest
car.
Dead car. But,
Yeah.
no, but the fact is, it has this character who's so campy and so silly and stuff like that, and they have really ludicrous powers that can't really be managed and stuff. And yet, it doesn't go to Doctor Who villain territory.
Nope.
It doesn't go to that kind of, oh, it's a bit OTT, isn't it? Like, and I don't know where the line is. If you ask me, I couldn't tell you where the line is, but then it magically manages it here.
It just works, and this is what Strange New Worlds does so well with comedy. It just works, and it's so spot on. And what I always love, right, in the comedy situations, it's Pike.
Sorry, before it's Spock and his lines, because he literally has
Go on.
the line where he's talking to Corby, and Corby's like, maybe the reason I snapped out of it is because of my amazing intellect. Or something, or like maybe the reason like I wasn't affected is because of my amazing intellect. And Spock just says, if one of our intellects could bestow immunity, I'm confident it would not be yours. Like, that is literally an, oh girl, you know, like, oh no, she didn't.
But you know,
It's like a perfect slapdown, but wow, what a line.
going back to my man crush, the way that Pike plays him, like, well, the way that Mount plays Pike in comedy situations where it's just Pike doesn't know how to cope or process, and we see this here where like Trillane has been taken home by the queue and everyone's snapped out of it. They don't know what the hell's going on, and Pike just steps up to the podium as the captain that he is, and he's going on about, you know, it's a centenary of the Federation where we encounter new worlds, new species, and you know, this is part of, and then just at the end he's just like, bars open. And I'm just like,
yeah, I can't save this situation.
Yeah, I can't save this.
Happened?
Let's just drink. And then we get the dancing.
Yeah.
And then canonized for the 23rd century, George Michael.
I'm gonna say we're gonna have a fight here.
Why?
I hated it.
You hated it. Why?
Yes. I don't know. It's the same as me disliking Tom Paris being like, "Hey, we're massively in the future. Here's an American car from the 1950s." I just dislike the idea of going, why do they have this music here? Why are they using it? Like, a new creation would have been great, or something, or a live singer, or it just, yeah, I found it tacky. I love George Michael. I love the song. I thought it took away from the episode.
I think
random pop culture in there.
I think they could have done something. I mean, they could have done something with it. It's 91 and 67% humidity. I'm Chris. I'm in a cool environment. I'm dying here, Chris. I'm dying. It is so hot. I want to poop so badly. Anyway, he's evolved. He's evolved. I think.
Yes, sorry, my little headphones basically decided to go, we've run out of battery, so I've turned into that weird guy from Star Wars. But I'll do it back there. And it's not Princess Leia. It's not.
You killed the most stormtroopers. That means you get the choice of 5 friends for a pizza party. Oh God, my stomach.
It could be happening, everyone. It could be happening.
Shut up.
89% of us voted for it.
I'm holding it together, Captain. I mean, they could have done something because it's so random and so out of place. I think they could have done something. You know, maybe they had a DJ where he's just like, I'm all about 20th century or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe maybe they say, you know, Chapel is fond of this music, or Spock is just like, you know, in my research of wedding party music playlists, this is one of the songs that get, and it's just George Michael, and he'd be like, all right, I sort of get that. Yeah,
you could have made a gag of it. You could have made a gag of them just going, hey, we've studied this, and apparently this is what people play at weddings, according to our research. Like, had Spock do something like that,
have Spock do YMCA.
As it is, it kind of just goes, in the future, do they listen to this? Like, it's presumptuous and unlikely, I think.
I mean,
it winds me up, but I'll forgive it.
Look,
because loads of people will have loved it. You know,
at least they don't listen to Jojo Siwa. We are thankful for that. All records.
I don't know who that is.
You are glad. She's done a cover of Betty Davis's Eyes, and it sounds like she's had 40 Lamberts before she pressed record.
That is required for that. Oh no! To be fair, every time I even hear the original, I end up coughing a little bit, like this sort of like sympathetic cough. But yeah.
But yeah. So I felt it was a little bit out of place. But Star Trek fans, as Goodwill said, there was a big difference, and I essentially see, so he wins.
Well, I basically in the chat they're talking about how warm it is in the different places there are. Although I like Chris Garris saying it is 91 and 67% humidity. That's how I describe myself. That's my Grindr profile. I'm 91 and 67% humidity.
I'm 91% poop and 67 sphincter.
I'm only 33% moist.
God, I'm I'm about 80% for that at the moment.
80% voice.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it was a little bit out of place, but like you said, they could have used a gag. They could have used a gag in there to sort of bridge that gap, to sort of, why is it here? Why is it here? But no, I think on the whole, this was a tremendous episode. It was funny. It was well acted. We dealt with Spock learning, shall we say, to let... What are you laughing at?
I'm looking at my notes and just the little notes that I sort of wrote for this episode, and I'm like, I haven't even talked about that yet, and it's brilliant. So carry on.
Well, yeah, I'll finish what I said, and then we can get into that. I think it's just... It deals with Spock letting go and accepting the inevitable. But it does it in such a way that there's also comedy and everything like that. And I absolutely, again, this is just Strange New Worlds all over, where it's just like, this is an amazingly action-packed, trauma-led episode. Jitterbug.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it works. It just works. What are your notes?
Oh, my notes were so obviously we've got another amazing Spock line in this episode, which is when she talks about sort of, you know, you take my heart away kind of thing, and he's like, the absence of a heart would be quite fatal.
Yeah.
It's just, that's a great little line.
Such a Spock idiom. Yep.
But obviously the bit where Trelane just loses his shit during the wedding after everyone's after everyone started fighting back, and he literally goes, okay then, I guess everyone has to die then, right? And he walks down the aisle and he's like, you're going to die too, everybody's going to die. And I just this is childishness about it, like this sort of like going, I hope you're happy, now I have to kill everyone. And it was really good and really funny, and I don't know how they did the knife's edge between having a bad guy being ridiculous and us being like, we're fine with this.
Making him so endearing. Again, but it's Q all over.
Hopefully he'll come back, you know, like they have 2 seasons. I doubt he will, because I don't have enough episodes, but it's this idea of going, you've done that amazing thing that Lower Decks managed to do a lot of the time, where it just goes, hey, you've brought back this thing and made us want more of it. You've literally opened the gates to 1,000 different novels that we can have, like 1,000 video games, like spin-off shows and stuff, because you've gone, hey, this is how we do this, and it's great.
Yeah.
But the main thing, actually, Ortega's brother, really like them. I really like them. Yeah, I love that relationship with her and Uhura, with him and Uhura, and I think that's really cute. Okay, but the main thing I want to talk about, okay, and it's the gayest thing I can do, but the fashion in this episode is astronomical.
I love it.
You just look at this and you're just like as someone who's learning dressmaking myself and whatnot, and obviously has dealt with things, the fact of you can pause this episode at any point and just be like, that is incredible, and it's only in that one scene. Like the wedding scene, what Uhura is wearing in the wedding scene is absolutely amazing. What La'an is wearing is absolutely amazing. Like what Patel and like Ortegas has like a sort of the best dress uniform I think I've ever seen in Trek, and that includes the what's it called, the monster maroon and whatnot. It's it's also like there's a scene in the corridor. Yeah, it's incredible. Like it's so well done, and we need to be applauding all of
the costume designers and
stuff. The people making these shows, like the people doing the set design, the people doing this. Like someone said to me earlier, like, oh, you can tell they don't have a budget, and I was like, where can you see no budget in this? Like, you know, if they don't have a budget, I'm willing to say, hey, Hollywood, how are you not doing as well as this? Like what
that is incredible
in that scene,
the hairstyle, the dress,
like, it's absolutely amazing. There's one scene where it's Uhura, Ortegas, and I don't think he gets a name, but Ortegas' brother, basically walking down a corridor, and Uhura is wearing this orange, like sort of,
it's like casual,
it's casual wear. And I literally was just like, that's amazing. I genuinely adore
I
that.
thought
Like,
it was
it
the
works
shoes
so
were
well with her
amazing.
black skin.
Yeah.
It's like there's loads and loads of African families moving in where I am in Sunderland, and it's just like when you see the fashion, because they go to church every Sunday, and
Yeah.
when you see them in the street and they have the big African fashions on, where these huge bold outfits with these crazy colors and stuff, and you're like, that looks amazing. That
It's
genuinely is a
fantastic.
fashion
Yeah.
statement. And for them
Yeah.
to be bringing that into Strange New Worlds and being like, hey, it's different civilizations and different cultures. So yeah, she's wearing orange, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's me gushing a little bit, but it's simply because I don't usually get wrapped up in stuff like outfits and fashion, but the fact of everyone looks so good in this. Yeah, and the sets look so good, and the sound's so good, and the acting so good. It's Yeah, we are spoiled with Strange New Worlds, and I've absolutely loved these 2 episodes.
My little tidbit from this, because I am a ship guy, so I have been gushing over the new
Oh yeah.
intro, and I've been gushing over this episode specifically. We get to see not one, but 2 Crossfield class starships outside of Starbase One. Now, the Crossfield class starship was the USS Discovery. So there are 2 more crosses. So it's a nice little note. We saw the Hiawatha, we saw the Archer, we saw everything like that. But I noticed 2 Crossfield class starships out behind during the wedding scene.
Wow.
Of that episode, and I geeked out to that. But again, it's the tiny little details that they put in that we pour over when it comes to the costumes, when it comes to the drinks, the sets, the sound effects, the ships, everything.
Well,
All those
there's
tiny
one
little things
scene
make
there's
it.
one scene where in the background, like I'm pretty sure, like Trelane is just against the window in one of the scenes.
Yes,
Like he's
he
pressed
is.
against the window, and
Yeah.
I was just like going, "What?" You know, and it's
Blink
just this
and you
weird
miss
little
it.
background bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Blink and you miss it, and it's those tiny little touches. I mean, the Bolians were there. There was 2 Bolians at the wedding, and and then Trelane goes, "How dare you upstage me? You knew I was blue," and then he's just like. But do you know what I mean? And then it's like the design of the Bolians just looked absolutely
We
perfect.
didn't even talk about that, did we? Where it was the idea of like, because basically the way we see Trelane in the episode isn't how he appears to everyone. He has disguised himself as an Andorian in this episode, and this is this crazy thing when you realize how long the makeup takes. It has one bit where when he's first introduced as the wedding planner. And he's looking at you see a reflection, an Andorian reflection
It's insane.
in the mirror for like a second maybe.
Yeah.
And then it cuts away and it basically says to us, hey, everyone else is seeing him as Andorian. That's what the blue comment is at the wedding and stuff. Because
Same.
they're still, he's like, hey, I'm blue, but obviously we're seeing him as Trelane. But he just like they had to put him in full Andorian makeup for the sake of a reflection that
Like
only lasts
4 or
on the
5
screen for,
hours
like,
worth of makeup. Yeah.
like a minute, and you just like you forget like the lengths that they go to with these shows.
Oh, it's just.
But yeah,
It's why I
that's
love it. It's why sorry, I feel. Really
Oh no,
ill.
I'm flagging too.
I feel so ill. But it's why I love this show, and I am so looking forward to the next 8 weeks of covering this on Trekking Up North, because I don't know what's going to happen in the next episode. I'm deliberately keeping myself away from any spoilers or anything like that, so I don't know what's going to happen in the next episode, and that's how I would like to keep it, because with Strange New Worlds, anything can happen, and it's so crazy. It's so, next week could be emotionally traumatic, or it could be just like, what the fuck, what's going on, or it could be something in between. We don't know, and that's why I love it so much. This is what Star Trek should be.
Yeah, and is this is
And
what
is,
Star Trek
yeah,
and
yeah.
should be. However, here's the question I'm going to pose, because obviously because we're going to be doing this for the next 8 weeks, I think.
8 weeks.
Numbers work. Next 8 weeks, we won't be having the Dabo wheel. But what I'm going to ask you, Goodwill, is what are you wanting from the series? Because what I'm wanting from the series is I'm wanting a Pellier episode, and I'm wanting an Ortegas episode. I think we might get the Ortegas one. Don't think we will get. I'd love a Pellier episode like the Crusher episode where she gets trapped in the other universe, and she, you know, the whole sort of, if there's not something wrong with me, then there must be something wrong with the universe. I'd love a Pellier episode like that, where it's all centered around her having to solve a problem while things are going on. But what do you want?
I think two things. I'm not going to make massive predictions, but I think two things. One, definitely an Ortegas episode. We can see that coming a mile off, and it is very much deserved. Even at SDLV last year, when me and Synoiz were there, everyone was asking for an Ortegas episode.
Because they love her as a character.
We know that they're really going to push the boundaries this season, which is good, because Star Trek does need to take risks. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think there's going to be a time travel episode, but it is a leap forward, not backwards.
Okay. Yeah.
I think this is just my prediction. I think there is going to be a journey to either the 24th or the 25th century.
Okay, yeah.
I think they've been keeping it very tight-lipped, but I have an inkling of that. I might be completely wrong, but we know from the trailer that there is going to be a holodeck episode.
Yeah.
And there is a brief blink it and you miss it scene of the deactivated holodeck, and it is very, very close to the Enterprise D's holodeck, the 24th century. So I think it's either going to be they've invented a new technology called the holodeck, and they're testing it out or whatever, or there is a time leap or something. I don't know. Those are my only two predictions. I don't really want to make a lot of predictions because I just want to be surprised when I sit down and go, that was incredible. I didn't expect that. I want to go back to how I felt in the 90s watching Star Trek as a kid, brand new, not knowing what the hell is going to go on in that episode, because for me, that's what burns into my mind the most. When you sit there, I mean, I must admit, I got home from work yesterday. I was ill. I was exhausted. I sat on the sofa and I was like, I'm gonna try and have something to eat. I'm gonna get through these two episodes. I didn't eat because I was gripped from episode 1 all the way to the end of episode 2. And that's what Star Trek should make me feel like, and this is what Strange New Worlds does. So for me, I mean, I will. The reason why, so normally with these live streams, I would normally set them up early in advance so we can go and get everything done and I can get the images. For me, I'm not setting them up until I have watched it.
Yeah.
And then I can get the images and then I can get that, because that just spoils it for me. I want no spoilers whatsoever. I'm going completely dark with every new episode that comes out.
No, it's absolutely amazing. But yes, I do think we need to wrap this up, however. But,
I think we do. We do.
Before we close it, though, I will say to everyone, like, as we will be doing it, we will be doing this for the next 8 weeks. However, if you want to give us a challenge for when we get back to the Dabber Wheel, if you want to send us a challenge, we need a video in portrait of you saying who you are, what you're part of, essentially, and then giving us a challenge that we can actually do on the show. We'll do that, and then you send them to either the email addresses or any of the social media linked on the description.
If you look at the description,
we want to get a good bank of them. We want to get a good collection of them for when we get back to the Dabber Wheel.
If you guys take a look at the description below, I have posted all of my social media channels, and on the actual Trekkin Up North YouTube main page, there is the direct email for Trekkin Up North. So if you do have them, please feel free, reach out to myself, reach out to Synoiz, or email them in directly. We would love to build a great bank of challenges that I can just randomly pick out, drop in on the night, and then we can fail miserably and run out of episodes to review.
Well, it's better than me sort of just being like, oh, did we was that my job? Oh, okay. And then just being like, Sean. Just be like, Sean.
Yeah.
So,
Sean.
how are you? You're really busy at the moment. Well, about that.
Yeah.
You know?
I know you're doing ups and downs, but could you just do this challenge for me, please? Thank you, Sean. But yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
please tell your friends about Trekking Up North. Tell everybody. Share
Follow
this
us on
with the
Instagram.
world. Yeah, follow us on Instagram. Follow us. I'm going to do. We have got. Oh my God, we have got so much. We have got Instagram, Twitter or X, Blue Sky, and YouTube. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, and then wherever else, Threads or whatever. You can do the same for Synoiz. We've got Synoiz, we've got the Velvet Snatch. Look at the description below, guys. Every single link for you to follow us and to contact us and to follow Trekking Up North are all down below. If you like this video, please give us a like, because it really does help the algorithm.
Give this video a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and ask other people to subscribe, people that you think might be good. If you're part of communities, basically post our thing there, because we need to get our subscribers up. We've been doing this for a couple of months and it's kind of stuck around like the same amount, so we just want to get that up. And then on Instagram, as Goodwill pointed out in a video today, they're now going to make it so that you can only go live or do live videos if you've got 1,000 followers. So we need to get that number. We need to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Those are rookie numbers. We're hovering around about 450 at the moment on Instagram. But please just share it. I know there is so many Trekkies out there that would absolutely love this for some strange, deranged reason. So please share it with your friends.
And obviously, as you just said, Transporter Room, for the people that are doing that, thank you so much. The people who are collaborating with our posts, the people who are sharing all of our posts, and the people who have liked and subscribed already, thank you so much. We love doing these.
I have also got a nice little treat for us next week. I have got a trailer for a fan-made Star Trek movie that I have been speaking to a friend who is working on it. He's a great filmmaker. So we'll have a nice exclusive trailer as well for us to review next week. So
Very nice.
we'll get that popped on. But yeah, please, we will be back next week to review episode 3 of Strange New Worlds. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in live. Thank you to everyone who's contributed into the chat. If you love these 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds, let us know in the comments below. If you didn't like them, let us know in the comments below. If you disagreed with anything that we have said in tonight's episode, please let us know below. We'd love to have a conversation with you. We'd love to know what you liked, what you didn't like. Just get talking to us. Did you like that they brought
Trelane back? Did you like that they brought Trelane back?
Could it have been done better?
Me about Jitterbug? Could we have done should the first episode have been split over a wider arc? All these things, we want to hear from you. A, because it helps the algorithm, and B, because it gives Goodwill something to do rather than shitting himself to death. But now that that's said, and we're at the end of the episode, Goodwill, 89% of people want you to shit yourself to death. So are you gonna let them down?
I'm gonna take my chances with the Gorn. I think I'm gonna. I think if he squeezes me, I'm going to be like a tube of Aquafresh. So on his head be it.
Brown Aquafresh.
On that note, thank you so much to everyone. Thank you so much to my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Science Officer Synoiz. Wow. Sorry, the wall just vibrated with thunder.
The thunder seems to strike every time you lie. So it's...
I'm so... handsome.
Did it work? Hey, there we go.
But that vertical stream, Jency, will boost the... Yes, I know. I've got it all set up. I have. Trust me, I have got it all set up. But I was not in the house long enough tonight to get it all set up. So it will be done by next week. But thank you so much to everyone. We will see you next week. Take care of yourselves and each other. Live long and prosper. And as ever, on Trekking Up North, Miles.
Miles.
Miles. Miles. Miles.
Miles.